Hi everyone, welcome to a new live stream. Hopefully this one will be more lag-free and more hassle-free as the one yesterday. I experienced some problems. And also I invested in a new broadcasting microphone so you don't hear me, typing around or when I'm hitting the keyboard, so I don't have to mute my vocal channel all the time. Okay, so what are we going to do today? I hope you guys had a great week so far. And as you can not already see, but in a moment, we're going to talk about something really cool. I will not just introduce one library, but two from Redroom Audio. And the first one will be SAGA. It has been actually released in 2018, I think. And there has been an update. It has been revamped or anything. I'm not going exactly in what has been updated and revamped because, to be honest, oops, that was just me. Some weird sound. I don't know. Maybe it was just because I was opening this window. So anyway, why does this stuff always happens when I go live? This is really crazy. So let me introduce you to SAGA itself. So it's a percussion library, a world percussion library featuring orchestral ensembles, as you can see here, world ensembles. Then you have world soloists, oil drums, cymbals, gongs, anvils, and so on. So let me just play you some sounds and get through the library. So we'll just start with the orchestral ensembles and so you have large drum ensemble. So basically you see all the time when I'm switching the instrument what is going on here. Okay, so let me just turn back to the chat. So you still have dropouts. So anyway, it could be also me when I just slightly move my head so you don't hear anything what I'm saying when I come back to it. So I have to really make sure that I'm really close to the microphone. Okay, so large drum ensemble. Got the snare ensemble. The sticks. And also, I have to explain that the hits, the normal hits, the usual hits are on the white keys and on the black keys above, and not on all. I think it's a little bit tricky to see. Let me just close the browser here. Okay, let's do it like this. Actually, no, I need the browser. So let me just, maybe we can do it a little bit. Set this up a little bit more clean. So you got the hits on the white keys, and on the black keys above you have rolls, which are also controllable with a mod wheel. So this is pretty cool. And what's also cool is, what I'm really a fan of is that you have on these rolls, you have a release, sort of a release going on, which is, but not just, cut totally empty, but it's also not really like a full hit. So you can still play something like this. So I find this very intuitive and very important when you just record something and you instantly can go the other way around. Something like this, because this is, you don't want to dig around, or do you take this one or this hit or this crescendo or the other one or whatever. You just want to have a roll and a hit right afterwards. So what do we have? Sticks. We have snares with no, well, actually snare, the little carpet at the bottom of the snare. Okay, so we have low tom ensemble, also rolls above. I don't want to play too much military because so we probably have sticks. And then we have a high tom ensemble here. I should probably change some. How can I change the chat here? Because I can't see the messages here coming in from YouTube. So these are just, maybe you have to just, okay, so because I see a lot of YouTube. Yeah. Oh, hi everyone. Jasper, Ruben. It's great to see you. Hi. So I just have to do some, some adjustments here. And so I have the chat window, the chat going on also right on the side here to see the YouTube guys, because currently I just see the Twitch guys, and I don't know how to change it. So so I'm doing my best that I can. Let me open up the GUI again so we can. Okay, so we have the high tom ensemble sticks. So what I instantly hear is that the sound is very natural. It's not like, even though it's trailer percussion, it's very, as the title says, acoustic trailer percussion. So it's really, not like over-processed and very natural sounding. But very cool sound. So to go over the features here a little bit, you can see that there is a little, hope you can see that all right. There is a little world symbol here. This basically means that you currently have the global settings available. So when I change the volume, I should turn it on. So if you have this global symbol turned on, you control the volume and everything else, pan width, tune, and everything globally for all instruments. But when you want to change it individually, you just type, hit the instrument. You can also pick it here. And then you can simply, let's say, change. You want to have the snares a little bit softer, the drums, the large drum ensemble up as before. So you can just do it like this, so you can individually change everything. So also the other things should be obvious. There's the pan, and I think with hitting the control key and left click, you can set it back to initial to default settings. But also you have a little symbol up here. So as soon as you change something, you see this appearing, and then you can revert everything back to factory default. Let's put it like this. And since I don't have it globally, it's still remembering the settings for all the other instruments. So if you want to have a global reset, you simply do it like this. And we have the width, which is pretty helpful. For example, if you want to have, let's say, the large drums wide or narrow, so we just can set these really wide, but the snares more narrow. Yeah, it's pretty helpful, pretty cool. And let's just generally. Okay, so we got the tuning, which can be helpful pretty much most of the time, because I think this is probably something you don't, or you may not use that often, but it's pretty cool when you just turn down something tune down something like, you know, maybe just an octave. So you can get some pretty cool sounds out of So it's just a little, excuse me, I'm just having a little, how do you say, sucking tablet? I was just trying to check the word, but I don't know. It's like basically a little, I have a sore throat, so it's a little sucking tablet. What do you call it? I don't know. There's a special word for it. But, well, basically like a sweetie. So, I mean, this is pretty cool because it instantly sounds like giant ensemble, you know, like giant, huge drum. Only because by tuning it down a little bit. So this is a cool trick to do. It's also really cool when you layer percussions like this. So when you load up large ensemble, tune it down like an entire octave, and then you set up a new instance or load another one. You know, we could quickly, I mean, just quickly do this like this. And then we assign it simply to the same MIDI channel and just fooling around. I shouldn't do that right now because I want to make you familiar with the library, but it's just pretty cool to just show this. So I got this one pan tuned as on default settings and this one down an octave. But if you listen to both, and you also don't get into phasing issues because so you get a lot of attack. So, but I don't want to distract too much. No, we don't change. Save changes. Okay, so what do we else do we got here? We got the tuning. We talked about this. Also, we have the Mik Blend, which is just basically changing from close mics to far mics or room mics. Now you can set it as you want. Also, you have a little EQ down here. And you can change the tone. I think it uses a lot of CPU, actually. I'm not really sure right now, but when I used it before, it was using a lot of CPU and I had some crackles, but it was just probably because I was on a too low buffer setting in Cubase. And I also set Kontakt to just 8 cores only, so that may have changed something. Down here, you have a little effects section. And what is pretty cool, I mean, you have the, you know, let's say the standard Kontakt effects going on here, so you can introduce some more reverb, tape saturation. But what is pretty cool is when you set up for example, the transient master. And so you can, you know, fool around with the blending, have a lot of reverb going on, a lot of far microphones, I mean, and then you can just change the attack and release and lower the sustain. So you can have some sort of far mic'd instruments, but it seems to be a little bit more close. And this sounds different. Let me just turn this back to just close microphones. So, I mean, think about what you can do with it, with all these little things. You can layer a lot of these, of the same libraries. You can tune this down. You can introduce this little transient master. You can fool around with the mic blending. So this is just a general, you know, trick you can do when you try to create huge percussions. I mean, this library sounds pretty natural and cool at all, but there's still the tuning going on. But you can do a lot more when you just, you know, bring it over the top. So just trying to read that little chat here. So maybe I can, oh, let me just quickly do something. Okay, so I just set up the chat stream on my laptop, so I hope I can see that better than on the screen directly. I know I could put it just somewhere on the screen as an overlay, but I'm not getting into much experiments because I hope, I mean, I don't want to change that or make it happen like it happened yesterday, that I have just, you know, some kind of weird stuff, lags going on during the broadcast. Okay, so that was the orchestral ensembles. Let's hop over to the world ensembles. Or did I forget anything? Let me just maybe 9 we don't want to change. Oh, there's some other things. So besides just introducing these effects here, you can set up, you know, limiters, tape saturation, lo-fi, whatever, to really mangle the sound. You can also globally change the tone, the roll dynamics. And then you have the round robin, so you can probably get rid of the round robins just in case if you don't like this. And then you have a roll. All right, exactly. That's what I was talking about before. So if you prefer that way to have a roll, a hit at the end of the roll, there it is. And so you can deactivate the round robins here. Like this. Round robins activated, so the other way around. I'm sorry, so this is like activated right now. And the velocity curve should be self-explanatory too, that you have you basically change the velocity curve. You can also change the minimum and maximum settings of the velocity. So you can do it like, I'm hitting the keys very low, very subtle right now. So you can say that there's just something happening, that your lowest hit is right now 107. So just in case if you don't want to hit too hard, or you have some tendinitis going on because you writing too much trailer tracks and then everything hurts and you just have to, you know, just don't want to hit too hard. So anyway, just kidding. Let's move over to the world ensembles. Yes, replace this. So that's funny because it seems like Restream doesn't send me any chat messages to my laptop. So I'm just writing one myself. Let me test this. No. Well, okay, I can see it on the screen all right, but I will sort this out. So let's hop into the world ensembles. So you have the taikos. So you have several taikos. To be honest, taikos are pretty hard to record, so these sound really natural, really beautiful. Not like enhanced, you know, sometimes you buy something like a taiko ensemble library and it's like something like something like this. So this is very natural sounding, very beautiful. Sticks are very important. What else do we have? Frame drum ensemble. Different hits. Surdos, and we have rolls again. So you may wonder, I mean, or not, why there are no rolls for taikos, but I think it's pretty hard to play, you know, rolls with these, with a typical, I don't know how you call them professionally, but the little taiko wood blocks you just use for drumming. Different hits. Then we have hand drum ensemble. And two pans. It's kind of funny because when the moment I just opened up the Restream chat here on my laptop, it seems like everything got muted on the chat. So are you still there? Or if it's just me, you know, I can't read it anyway here. Okay. And last but not least, we have the repinique. So probably most likely know this from Brazilian music. Yeah, you're still there. Great. I think I'm after a full year of streaming, I should get familiar with all the things that can happen or not. Okay, so let's hop over to the world soloists. So these are basically the same as before, but obviously just solo players. Surdos. Also rolls. So you can create some really massive shit, you know, when you just layer all these ensembles. I'm sorry, but I always think about how to layer, how to make it as epic as possible. And I mean, remember all these little tricks, you know, like tuning stuff down, layering the ensemble with the solo libraries, and even layering the ensembles with the ensembles, layering the solo with the solo, and putting everything on top and tune it differently. And you get like a really massive percussion setup. Plus, the other thing is, I mean, nobody cares basically when you write music, and that somebody says like, you know, haha, you use the the solo taiko from Redroom Audio, because nobody cares what you use as long as it sounds good. And no client ever said, I could hear you, I mean, it gets really obvious when you use some, let's say an Omnisphere loop everybody used, and or some Storm Drum 1 loop, Storm Drum, which has been around for like ages. And you probably use the same loop over and over again, that nobody says that you use this. But I mean, what I'm trying to say is that it's always nice when you set up, or that I'm looking forward to always get a library more, to set it up that it sounds a little bit more custom-like. And you can do that by changing pitches, layering the sounds, and not just different sounds and doing like something like this and using several instruments at once, but also to take care about changing the sound easily by just retuning the stuff, layering solo with ensemble libraries. You get like a really nice custom sound. And I think on an intuitive level, on a subconscious level, there are a lot of producers who don't know, that something has been used, like as they heard like many times before, but they realize that there is something going on which they are familiar to or familiar with. Hope that makes sense what I'm trying to say here. Okay, so where did we stop? So frame drum, solo 2-pan. Oh, Andrew, yes, of course. It's okay that you announced the YouTube stream on Discord. So you think it says, because if you're not familiar with Andrew, he's a moderator on my Discord chat. And so does it happen now automatically when I stream on YouTube, or did you just announce it like? Switch the keyboard. Oh, that's cool. So I assume... Oh, that's cool. So you got these flames. That's cool. So you have to obviously, tune this program, tweak this a little bit, but you can get some really cool effects by introducing these little things here. And Brazilian again enters the room. Very cool. So let's hop over to the oil drums. Yeah, right. Thanks, Ruben. You can have a little drop-down menu here. It shows all the instruments. So just in case, going back to the orchestral ensembles, that's what I forgot. So thanks for reminding me that you don't have to play a sound in order to change stuff. So you could go in here and say, okay, large drum ensemble, tweak this, this, and then you go over to the snare ensemble and do your tweaks and then play it. So you don't have to touch the instrument all the time. The keys, I mean, not touch the instruments. So we have three different oil drums here. So hop over to the cymbal section. So you have the hits here. And don't be confused. You can, I think, did I just MIDI learn that? I think that is always applied to the roll dynamics. Because I'm just asking this because, yeah, I think it's just generally assigned to the. Of course, yes, of course it is, because I just imported the program, the patch, because I'm just mentioning this because earlier I was using, and I'm just mentioning this in every video just to make you guys aware of this, just in case you don't know this, that you can hit right click every knob in Kontakt and just learn MIDI automation. So just in case if you want to, you can set up some really cool stuff by, even let's load this again. And let's just learn the tuning to my mod wheel. So you can just in case, whenever you need it, you can do all this funny stuff here. So let's get back to the cymbals here. So you have the typical hits, the stopped hits. You have a little scratch, cymbal scratch, something, and then you have a looped roll. Again, you can control with a mod wheel or change the dynamics with a mod wheel. And then you have, let's say timed crescendi. So there was 20-inch cymbal, 18-inch, basically the same. What I also really like about it, that all of these cymbals are set in the perfect or in the exact same way as each of these, the 20, the 18, and probably the 16-inch cymbal, that you can just transpose it in an octave, and you think, man, maybe it sounds better with an 16-inch cymbal, and you did all the programming on the 20-inch, then you just move it 2 octaves up. Okay, let's hop over to the gongs. So every time I'm like longing outside the screen, I'm just doing things with my mod wheel. But I think you should see it on the screen in between the chat window somewhere here. Okay. So that's what I really like about SAGA, is that it's all nice and tidied up. So it's pretty much organized, you know, when it comes to the length of these scratches. Or different articulations, that it's not all, you know, wrapped around, you know, upon the keyboard and you don't know where to look for. And I would just go that far and say that just the same applies. Hey man, how are you? That the same applies to the entire. Yeah. So whenever you think tam-tam should also double the low gong, or you know, you want to simply replace the low gong with a tam-tam, you could just transpose it 2 octaves actually. So because we have 2 octaves of instrument range. Yeah, right. I forgot to explain these things that you can set a sample to reverse with that little backwards thing. And this is what you... Now let me just read exactly. You can spread one sample across the whole... Oh, there you're right. This one. Right. So you can layer... Let me just load the orchestral ensembles again so I can... So maybe a little bit better demonstrated with this. You can hit this one, and I know I'm not really sure if you can read this, but you have some double tracking, so it will trigger the plate articulation twice. Round robin mode should be enabled for best results, which is... So it is like basically like doing different, like layering internally some of the hits by triggering them twice. And also this little thing here, when you have the large drum ensemble selected, that you can hit this one and it's spread upon the entire keyboard and it pitches appropriately. So it's basically what I did before with a mod wheel learning, but it's just now all... And the really cool thing is that you don't have any phase issues, because everything is spread out differently, so you don't have like 2 or 3 samples being triggered at the same time with the same pitch, the same tempo, you know, everything. You could also... I think, right now go back to large drum ensemble and do the same. It's still selected. So when you play this, I don't know how to trigger this, but probably you want to load a different instance. So it seems like it just works globally. But then, I mean, you can still load several instances that just load the large drums to one, snare ensemble to the other one. So I see it right now, yet you have to... It's not enough to just switch around here and then hit this. You really have to trigger the sample and then it changes this. Okay, so back to gongs. Still had the low gong, I think. then we have the high gong. Okay, so what else do we got? All these things sound really, really, really really nice, really well. Yeah, it's really great sounds. So I don't know if I mentioned this, but I mean the moment I was just listening to the first few samples, I instantly thought they will get their place in my working template as quick as possible. Maybe I will do this after the video. The anvils. And also all the samples are really well mapped, so you don't have something going on, because I don't want to mention any names, but there are some percussion sample libraries where you have some samples mapped directly, let's say with like a gap of 0 or 5 milliseconds, and others have a gap of like 20 milliseconds. So if you want to play something and you play it like, let's say, quarter notes, something like this would happen. So there would be some hit out of rhythm, which is not really, not really the best thing when you have a percussion library where you have obviously a lot of notes happening. Is it? No, these are just different effects. Sounds like sharpening a sword or something. Really cool. We also have metal sheets in here. I'm just testing around with a mod wheel, but yeah, you can never have enough of this stuff, seriously. Especially if you have, let's load up some. Just let's use something from Kontakt. You can quickly come up with some decent horror stuff. I think I'm just seeing it right now. Sorry that I have to do this for a second. But it seems like that in the chat, I just see the YouTube comments and not everything which is coming from Twitch. So I don't even know how to... I'm not really sure what's going on. Let me just bring up the library window again. I will sort that out. Okay, so what do we have here? Silo booms. That sounds really interesting. I'm expecting something... Wrong key. This is really cool. So imagine you have like a drum setup, you know, like a drum loop going, or program the drum line, and then on the one you always have the something to add a little bit more atmosphere. That's pretty cool stuff. So let's load the various metals. So I think we have a collection of small metals, screws. Containers. You can get actually some really cool side. Maybe we have some, you know, maybe we do that in another video because I just want to go through the video. Through the library, but you can set up some really cool stuff when you program loops with, you know, all these little metals. And then you run this all through Bit Crusher, or let's say a ring modulator or something. You can get some really cool sci-fi loops going. Sounds a little bit funny when you play it like this, like a cartoon, some guy stumbling through a whole room filled with all this stuff. But it can sound pretty cool when you have some delay stuff going and pipes. Doors. So I guess it's not, you know, slamming doors. Otherwise, these would be really small doors. But I guess it's just, you know, hitting these doors. I think we should do a sound design special with these things, because so many ideas coming into my mind when you just, you know, take something like this and you just render it to audio and chop it up, that you have a chopper, that you have like stuttered notes going on in 8th or 16th notes, and put distortion on it. You get some really weird stuff going on, which sounds really cool when you especially are looking to create something hybrid, a little bit more hybrid, but not really like something from a library directly, but something more custom sound design made. Yeah, that's the entire, we actually went through the entire library. I think there's the instrument folder, so I'm not missing some multi-folder or anything. So, but just in case I forgot something, I also want to introduce another library. Hey, how are you? Thanks for dropping by. Actually, this kind of pisses me off that I don't see that I don't see the Twitch chat right here. That it's just YouTube chat, because I see some people writing on Twitch and it doesn't appear in that window here. This is kind of. Hey Adam, how are you? Thanks for dropping by. So let's load this other library. And this is also by Redroom Audio. And this is their newest release, and it's called, this is the one, so this is called Q-Builder's Cinematic Rhythms. And this is a little bit more complex. Let me just, okay, I just tried to explain it as good as possible. There's also a well-made walkthrough video on their website. So you can check this out. So basically what happens here, and I'm really happy about that I can see from the menu here already that you have 12/8, 7/8 stuff going on, 5/4 stuff. So we recently had this stream about, you know, creating some odd meter stuff. So this is pretty cool that Redroom Audio provides because stuff like this, because I mean, honestly, when you buy loop libraries or you come up with stuff like, let's say, no, you buy loop libraries, most of the stuff is in 4/4, hardly 3/4, but never in, you know, 7/8, 12/8, 5/4. So this is pretty cool. But before I talk too much, let me just play you some of the loops, and then we head into what is going on here. So there's also a hit going on. I know that you can deactivate the hit on release. So just in case, if you you know, have to interrupt the loop and you don't want to have a specific ending or a hit at the end. So I'm exaggerating a little bit here. So, and you just say no hit on release. So you have a dead end, you know. Yeah, I'm really sorry about the about what is going on with the Twitch chat, because I don't actually know how it worked before. So let me just quickly check this again, because this should be working all right. Maybe I have to, let me just check something real quick. Oh, no, I can do this here. Let me just, because I have to fix that. So we have the chat room, and I think embed in stream. Ah, there's an error going on. It's unauthorized. It tells me that the okay, I see. So that's why. Unauthorized. So maybe I have to quickly, I hope you bear with me that I can quickly check out what is going on here, because I don't want to, you know, exclude anyone. Oh no, I'm getting a feedback. What is going on here, because I don't want, this is funny. Did you hear that? I have no clue actually. I don't really know. Yes, maybe I have to authorize restream from within here. Connections. Well, no. I just have to check that for a second here. Okay, so I don't want to, spend too much time by checking this out, but I really don't know why it's not happening. But it seems like I have to fix that on the Restream platform somewhere, that the Twitch stream gets authorized. But I don't know why this is going on here. Yeah. So, but there is something definitely going on, something fishy I have to fix. Maybe I can just check the settings. Well, no, I can't find it. So I definitely have to do this. So I'm sorry that you guys have to hop over to YouTube in order to become visible in the chat. So I definitely have to fix that. Every time there's something new going on, I mean, that's, So let's continue with the cinematic rhythms. So what's also cool, so let's get this done one by one, so you can play, of course, several loops at once. But the cool thing is now, of course, you can play several loops and layer these. But what's also cool, and hope I get this right, you can make visible what you click here, but you also can say that you unload all of these things. So let's unload everything, what is going on with this adrenaline loop here. So you just have low 1 visible, audible. Or you can just have the low stuff going on. So you can, I'm not really sure. Yeah, so you can do it like this. So you can customize that loop. Oh, there's nothing going on here on high 2. Yeah, so you don't have too much. Well, it's okay. It still works, but so this is what you should take care of, that you hit the closest tempo to what your session is in. This is 112 to 139. And it works pretty cool actually on this. Yeah, you hear it on the reverb. There's some stuff going on. So always make sure to hit the closest tempo section here to your session inside your DAW. So you can also control these things by using these key switches. Let me just turn this down a little bit. So you can mute. You can mute these things on the fly. So let me just check if just fooling around here. wait, this was... Let me just do it quickly like this. So we just have low 1, and then I could go in here and say... So actually, this is some part where I have to read the manual more closely, because sometimes when I trigger this key, it doesn't... Oh, now I got it. Okay, so if you hit it hard, you can unmute this. And if you hit... I don't know the velocity layer right now where it splits, but it just somewhere in the middle. So if you hit this low... You can mute this. If you hit it hard, you unmute it. So this is pretty helpful that you can have, you know, if you want to play, you know, a loop all the time, and just hold it for like 8 bars, that you can just work with the key switches by introducing more layers. But of course, again, this all makes sense if you are a fan of, you know, fiddling around and experimenting. I would probably set this up like this, that I would just load like 3 different instances. Of course, it takes a little bit more time. It's maybe not the most efficient one, but you have more freedom in changing things. If that makes sense. Okay, let's check out some more features here. You can also change, where do we start? Let me just start somewhere that you can change the width of the close mics. Well, let me just bring down the hall. You can set it really wide or close or narrow. You can also, I think, let me just check the memory settings again. Yes, you can unload instantly the microphone instances, which saves a lot of RAM. So you can see that the patch currently uses 144, and now it uses 288. So you can change the sound by just having close or narrow close microphones and very wide room mix or hall mix. You can also generally change all this. You can set the pan. But probably yes, maybe it's just because maybe I have to set it all. Oh, the stem only. Yeah, right. Thanks. So Ruben, I know that you that you're more familiar with the library, so I'm just exploring this all. Yeah, right. So basically, it's the same as with SAGA, that you have these individual settings. So this is globally, and this is for the instrument. And let me just, yep, you can hit Control and left click, and you set it back to default. So let's do this with with this one too. Okay, so what do? We also have an EQ going on here. This is also, again, for each instrument. What is also, so this is the tempo sync, of course, or you can do it, you can set the tempo individually, but let's keep that synced. And you also can say that you hold this until, I have to fool around with this. When you just play, let's play back. No, sorry, in quantize. So you set it up like a quarter note, and just assuming you're not, you know, the most precise player. And let me just quickly record this. So as you can see that I have the sample start here on sort of like the 4 end, but because I set it to in quantize, at least like a quarter note, it starts on the next one. And the other option is, so you hold it a little bit longer. So I think if I just set it to, you know, 4/4, it holds until an entire 4/4 bar is, let's put it like 8/4, so it should hold. Of course, it makes great sense to hear 4/4, you know. Okay, so, but you get the idea of these things. What else do we have here? So, you can also, and this is what I really like, you have keys below here where you can play the individual. Too many key switches. You can clearly see that I don't work with key switches. Okay, so these things, that's what I wanted to check. All these things here, the hits, they change when you change the loop. So it's not just a general, but it seems to not be the same. The same volume. But I think that's probably on purpose because yeah, so just in case if you don't like working with the loops, because I recently, you know, got a new library, and I'm not mentioning the name, but you just have the loops available. I mean, which isn't just a bad thing, but you also have no option to play just the single notes. This is what I really like. No, it's actually, well, it's possible, but I got a question of, you know, on Twitch that if it's possible to remove the YouTube chat in front of the events. Basically, this should be set up as a general chat, but I just missed, and I just can't, you know, fix that currently, that the entire chat, also the Twitch chat, should be visible in the window, but I can move it a little bit more up. But I just want to have, just in case, questions coming up, or as Ruben knows the library very well, that some helpful things are coming in, but I can just probably move it a little bit more. I hope this happens in real time right now. yes, that I can just move the chat a little bit over. But I definitely want to have the chat in on the screen because. But I hope on the next stream I have Twitch and YouTube implemented into the screen chat. So let's check out a little bit more sounds. We basically talked about most of the features. There's another thing you can do. You can, move this thing here. Let me just try to do this. Maybe it's locked. No. I just have to do, because you can, I've seen that in the video that you can, okay, let's do it like this, that you can change the start and you can even lock it to, let's say, note values, that you can have the loop starting on this. So because this happens also a lot of time, or this happened to me a lot of times, that you, thanks EQ, EQ 80 Hertz. Yeah, I will try to get this done, the next stream. But slowly it feels after like doing, I don't know how much streams I already did. And it always feels a little bit, there's something going on every time. So I hope that I will have this all figured out within like the next year. There's nothing going on. So, but what I want to say, let me just load the 4/4. No, let's go through that one by one. But yeah, let's load the 3/4 section here. So I had this many times that you have just a little bit confused because it's okay, it's 3/4 but twice, because I was counting 1 2 3 4 1 2 3 4, but it's 1 2 3 1 2 3. Okay, so I got it right now. So it happened many times that I had a loop going on and I just wanted it to start, let's lock this, to start it from somewhere else, or I just needed a bit of this. Or it sounded... So you quickly can create some 1 2 3 4 1 2 3 4, and if you have a bass drum going on, maybe may not be the best example, but you get the idea that you can just start and even end the loop wherever you want. Let me just load the 4/4 section here. We go through these one by one later, but I just want to make this a little bit more obvious. So let's say you want to create, let's lock this. You want to create a 7/8. You just want to get rid of the end, so you can do it like this: 2 3 4 1 2 3 1 2 3 4 1 2 3. So you can quickly create an odd meter rhythm, or just like a 6/8 2 3 1 2 3 1. Quickly out of an existing loop. I had this several times that I was just on accident, having a loop going on, and then at the end. Use the start and end knobs. I should read the chat. That I was loading a loop somewhere, and I would have wished, or accidentally it happened, that I just started it on the wrong, beat or whatever. And it entirely changed the feeling by starting it on a different point. So this comes in pretty handy when you can just quickly be able to, let's say, create a 5/8 out of these things. So let's just take a little bit of time and dive into the sounds a little bit more. So let's continue with the 3/4 here and just play some sounds. Sure, I should turn off the hit on release. I mean, it really makes my heart, beat faster that I know that there are a lot of that much beats or that many beats going on for, 3, 4, 7, 8 and stuff like this, because it happens so many times that you quickly want to come up with something in 3, 4 or whatever other time signature. And you just have 4/4 available. So sometimes, I mean, we all know this. You have tight deadlines going on. You quickly have to get something percussive going on with in 6/8 or 7/8 even. And before you can, have to get creative for like another hour. I mean, sometimes every minute counts. Can you make it, a little bit more percussive? Oh yes, of course. And you can slam in some stuff like this. Yeah, just one question. What made me go back to Cubase? So actually, I just have to get a tiny little bit into this real quick. The thing is, I'm still working with Studio One because I really love it for sound design, for everything electronic, for all the intuitiveness of just, dragging and dropping instruments into it. But I honestly have to say there is one feature, and I really don't like what is going on when you have libraries which have to work with negative delay. And if you have stuff like Nucleus, for example, where you need a negative delay, at least for minus 125 or performance sampling stuff, the Fluid Shorts, for example, they have to have a negative delay of minus 100. And if you have a lot of this stuff going on in Studio One, it doesn't behave well. You have stuff starting to stutter. And I actually, if you just use 1 or 2 or 3 sample libraries or tracks in general, it's not really that much of a problem. But when you entirely use, or your let's say whatever 30% of your template exists with these libraries, it can become pretty hardcore. So actually, I was using the before mentioned libraries in a project recently, and I had to write, a big orchestral track, a big arrangement, and it was also arrangement where I got a general stem where it constantly had to compare the arrangements and what was going on. And it was just annoying that you just had to sometimes start a track 3 to 4 times in order to have it in sync. It's like it was like a tape machine always just drifting off because Studio One couldn't handle the negative delay. So this was one reason why I went back to Cubase, at least when it comes to orchestral stuff. And the other thing is that because of the video, I mean, honestly, you can work fine with Studio One and having video, and but it's still a problem when you just want to move the track a little bit. Or if it would be cool if you just move the video track a little bit back and forth, because currently, as far as I know, the latest version, I think you can just do it with like how do you call it? Like you have to put numbers in there, and then you can drag it around. Basically, no, actually in the latest version, they fixed it that you can just move a container around. But I mean, these are basically like the two reasons why I'm back on Cubase, at least for orchestral tracks. But for sound design and electronic stuff, I will always work with Studio One. It's actually my favorite workstation. But I'm just on Cubase because you can do all these things, or it does these things probably when it comes to negative delay. So I hope this answers the little question. Yes, actually, I just realized I forgot one feature, which is the tilt feature, that you can move the mod wheel and you can change make it a little bit more boomy or a little bit more lighter. I mean, it depends on the loop, so it always it almost, it's like you make it a little bit more lighter, a little more heavy. Well, actually, I'm not really sure. Oh no, okay, I thought I was wrong. No, it's just a mod wheel, I think. Yeah, but I think you can still, learn it and remove it and put it assign it to the pitch wheel. Okay, so let's change and let's check out some more rhythms going on here. Yeah, not visible in the chat right now, but EQ says 12 years on Logic and I just moved to Cubase. I fully understand you. I worked in Logic for like a few months and yeah. But I'm sure a lot of has changed since back then, since I worked with it. So actually, I should take care to give you the best version, because I have to take care that I switch. This could easily happen, so you just have to remind yourself to really check out that you're currently in tempo 120 and you move it to this button here. So if the thing is, it really appears that there's it's like sounded like somebody fell over. Wasn't the best point to end this loop here. So what I'm trying to say is that you just see like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, so probably like 12 whatever programs. But when you just really check how many loops are inside one of these patches here, it's like really a lot. So I know I was watching the walkthrough video before, And I think it was Dickie from Redroom Audio who did the tutorial, the walkthrough, and he said that they recorded like over 20,000 samples, something, including probably, I think, including the single samples down here. But I mean, that's actually a lot. I mean, you can check it on the website. We could quickly go on the website, Redroom Audio website, and check. Yeah, so actually this whole thing is $99. So that's a no-brainer for me. And since we are at it, let me just quickly go over to SAGA. And this is $149. So it's like really affordable stuff. And let me just check the features and the requirements. Yeah, so you see it here, like 19,120 samples to be precise have been recorded. And yeah, the library is 16. No, where is it? Where is it? Oh, disk space, right. Yeah, so it's 25. I went with a 24-bit, so it's 25 gigabytes of disk space. I'm not really sure if that is compressed or for the final size. Actually, I forgot one thing. Sometimes when you play loops, and just going through this, right, so on this one, you see that there is a variation going on. This would be one last feature I should mention. If you click this, there is a variation available. But I think it's just, let me just see if, let me just make it simple and see. Oh, okay. So it seems like it should yes, so it seems like it changes for the entire loop. Right. Okay. So it seems like it's general, like the settings below here. Actually, let me just move the window a little bit over here. Well, Shay, you can write German if you want, but I will probably talk in English and translate it because I just want to keep it as, you know, how do you say, as multicultural, and keep it down to one language. But of course, you can write German. So that's what I want to explain. Sometimes there is a setting with variation going on. There's a lot of stuff going on, seriously. And I always forget the black keys, so probably I'm not playing 50% of this stuff. Yeah, I mean, you get the idea of the entire library. As I said before, like $99 is really a steal. I mean, for all this material, this is really like a no-brainer, and it will probably save your butt many times. And which leads me to a question, Clay, that you say how I would use a loop in a composition I'm creating. I mean, it depends. Sometimes you have like really hardcore deadlines and you just have to come up with something really quick sometimes it's a matter of, hey, we just have to deliver the tracks, but we feel like the percussions are not really, we need a little bit more stuff. And unfortunately, the track is in 6/8, and then you can say, hey, sometimes you just have to use a loop, and there is no shame to just hit a key and use it. I think it becomes a problem when people just loading loop libraries only inside their composition and just, doing like this and holding it and just releasing it and rendering it and directly uploading it to SoundCloud or whatever and say that's a composition they recently did. I mean, this is like a lot of, faking. Sometimes I would also use, so many variations that you just load up a loop to be inspired. And if you like it, you would start coming up. And this is the cool thing about this library, because let me just, I was just thinking about something. So easily with this library, you could just play loop. I'm just doing it live right now, so. So you can quickly change the existing loop and make it, a little bit, change it at least a little bit by introducing some stuff you have available below here. You can quickly add to the track. And of course, you could just, add like another library and just layer it a little bit. But I always look forward. So if I use a loop, I try to make it as personal as possible and not just to, make my entire track rely on that loop, but just adding it and, building around it. There is nothing wrong for me to just use a loop as the basic part of your composition. It just, it's always important what comes out at the end and not how you start. So, yes. Just to mention the question, if I have the loop library by Cinesamples, percussion beds, yes, I got this one. But I'm not trying to talk about other libraries too much, because I'm just featuring this product here, and so yeah, that would be how I use loops. Is there another? So as I said, like comparing to other libraries, of course, we could sit down on a separate video and compare libraries. But to be honest, I don't compare snares. I'm not sitting there and saying, okay, this snare, is different from this snare. I'm the guy like, okay, this snare sounds cool. This maybe sounds not that cool. Let's bring this together and make it a custom sound. And so I always look forward to use everything I have. Of course, there are things you use more than others. But in generally, I'm just looking forward to, make it my own, make this my own music, not just by using this stuff for my composition, but also creating my own sound out of all these libraries. And that's why I also and that's what I also layer string libraries or brass libraries all the time, because it just creates a little bit more of a custom sound. And I don't want to be just, Alex Pfeffer for releasing the music. I also want to be the same guy who is releasing that, if you like it or not, I don't care, but it's like a special sound I'm trying to create. And okay, so one question was, you reviewed SAGA earlier. Just want to mention that both of these libraries were recorded in the same room. Yeah, that makes lots of sense, because they sound very similar, which isn't a bad thing, because then you can use them both, or let's say use SAGA to, build around these loops. Bloody dawn. I have to mention that I also like the names of these loops a lot. So you can load up SAGA and just, you know, spice up your loops even more, and then you can make it create your own custom sound, even though you're using loops. How are the individual kits editable? So as I said before, I think I showed it already, so I will also make sure to upload this one. But there is let's just do it with, you know, let's just load another one. Let's just load this 4.4 and fool around with this, how you can make this more. So yeah, let's just come up with something. I'm unloading all of these things right now. And I'm just keeping this one. So from the second loop, let's just do randomly some stuff. Let's use these two. So right now we already have this key and we have this. So let's play them both. So this is one way how you make these individual kits editable in a sense. But you also, as I said before, you also have single samples below here. But since I unloaded these, you don't have them available right now. So you would have to go back and so you can you have at least some samples. I mean, it's different than the stuff which is above here. But you can use it at least to spice up the stuff above. So, but I think what is closest that you can just, you know, let's do this again. Let's make this. And on the next loop, let's still have this. Let's pick another one. I like this. Is it this one? Let's solo this. Yeah, let's lose this one. Okay. And let's... Actually, the bell was somewhere else. Here it is. Let's use this. Let's use the big hits here. Now when I hit all these keys, so this is one way to make these loops accessible. But I think the power really, if you want the single samples of, you know, or at least the samples recorded in the same room or have single samples available, which have been recorded in the same room, is that you get SAGA. So I think there's probably, I'm not really sure if there's a bundle. We can check again here. So maybe there's a bundle available, but I'm not really sure. So you would have to check on the website, but that's probably the real power, you know, of this, of the samples of Redroom. Or let's say, how do you say this? This is the power, or the real power that you get both of these libraries to, if you want to go into the loop direction or you want to go into the single samples direction. Now I got it. Sorry. So it's not that you can, you know, replace something. So you don't have any kind of MIDI information available. But I know that you have access to all the sample am I in the right folder? Yes. So you have access to all the different samples itself, so you can easily import the WAV files. I hope I'm not giving away some wrong information, but I could just probably go over and check the sample folder for you guys. Let me just check this, Cinematic Rhythms. Load in the samples, so we can go to Epic. Let's load 4.4, Angry Thoughts. Wow, so you get also, let me just pull up that folder for a second, because you have to see it. You get all the WAV files available, which you can play back in the engine. So you can really go on crazy and just, drag in some audio loop here and just, yeah, that's probably some, it's 72 BPM, so I should have to probably pitch it appropriately to my session here. And let's do this real quick. So you get at least the samples are accessible, so you can really, if you really want to go crazy and make this all your own, you can go in there and just load up and just close this, and chop out all your own stuff and just use it as you want and map it into Kontakt or whatever. So you can get a lot of stuff going on. Yes, so let's continue exploring some of this stuff. Let's go to the 5.4 folder. So I think I don't want to go through any of these loops, but I should remind myself to always, maybe there's a good way to just go in here and just, go over here and save this again. So you have all these things available, because most of the time, or it's most likely that you start a session tempo 120. But then again, it just makes sense if you just want to have, you get the idea. If you just have this set to 72 to 89, that it sounds a little bit off, that it sounds much better when you have the proper tempo. Yeah, I think as you mentioned it, yeah, it's divided into two. So it's basically the loop package and the single samples, and both libraries complement each other pretty well. I could hear that from just, testing both libraries or reviewing, or it's not really a review. I'm not doing reviews. I'm just exploring the libraries together with you guys. Oh, that's cool. A 5/4 shuffle. 5. Yeah, it sounds like a three-legged blues song. I don't know three-legged, but some really cool stuff. I feel really inspired, Let's load this 7.8 folder here. some really cool stuff. Tempo 90. So I just, yeah, but I. And that's some really cool stuff. I already fell in love with these libraries here. So, yeah, I think I didn't forget anything. Maybe I forgot about some features here that you can have some. I think this is basically like the same. Oh, that you can make it a loop, basically, I think. Yeah, so the loop stops, and that you can go sure that you just have one loop, and then basically you can probably change these, set like this global menu to all phrases. What you do here probably with the attack and the release, so on. Okay, yeah, the close sounds. Let me just play you a few loops here with just the close mics. Let me just. I should turn on the loop here. Just turn it on to compare it. Also vice versa. Let's hit load just the. That's also really good. Some cool stuff you can do is when you want to use loops, but you don't want to make it too obvious using loops, you just load the whole microphones and you just grab, for example, SAGA or any other library, and you just compose it's something around it. So you just use it as a groove shadow, just if the term makes sense. So you just use it as kind of a shadow, which is just there in the background, and you just program like a few loops to it, a few single samples to it. Let's load another patch here. Let's load the B patch. Oh, let's load some more epic rhythms. Come on. Yeah, I think, no, I think round robin on the looms. Actually, before I forget this, there is one more thing I wanted to mention. As we already talked about the variations, you can also change the variations with a key switch down here. Okay, so yeah. So you can keep the loop playing and just change the variation on the fly. Maybe it just makes sense when you just. So you can change just the end. So you can do this on the fly here. Yeah, I mean, no, I think round robin on the loops doesn't make sense, because imagine you would have this would instantly double the size of the library. I don't know. I'm not saying anything. Exactly. I mean, this is like 1 gazillion loops times 2. I mean, a lot of people forget that when you record even like a small library. I mean, I release small libraries myself. So if you have like a simple percussion library of like 2 hits, and I have this little trailer Jember recently, but I don't want to advertise my own stuff here. But I mean, just the technical stuff. And let me just, change it to the chat window for a second. So even if you have like 2 little hits and you record 8 or 10 round robin samples with it, that's a lot of more stuff. And you have like 4 velocity layers. So that's all in all 32 samples. So even if it sounds like you have 2 hits, ding, ding, but you want to make 4 velocity layers for each hand. So you have, 8 samples. No, it's actually more. Am I stupid? Yeah, but whatever. So assuming you have like 1 right hand, 1 left hand, you have 4 velocities for the left, 4 for the right is 8. And then you have it times 8 in round robin. So it would mean that not just 1 hand, so it's not just times 8, it's like times 16. So you have a lot of samples going on for just 2 hits, and this is actually a lot of work. So if you would really come up and say you have round robins for loops, this would be a thing, very difficult. And I think it wouldn't make sense at all, because you can still take any single sample, you can still fire up SAGA, and you just have yes, thank you, 128. So you can still fire up SAGA and at least change the beginning of the hits by just introducing some, tuned down, octave tuned down single hits, and make this loop more. And besides that, if you have a full arrangement, we are not talking about re-releasing, which is forbidden anyway, to use any library content, loop content, and just re-release it as some licensed track. You at least have to layer it with other stuff. But even if you do it like this, I mean, this is not, come on. You can do that better. You can write a better composition. So we all would aim for creating an entire composition, and by just having a loop somewhere below it, it doesn't mean that you really hear that it's all the time the same stuff going on, because ideally you would just come up with some really cool stuff which kind of hides that it's like a never-ending, or maybe like a 32 bar phrase. Just comes to my mind, one cool thing is to make it a little bit more round robin, in the sense of that you hear something happening, is what I do a lot of time. Let me just pick like... Okay, that's... that. Forgot to turn off Steam. Let me just turn off Steam for a second. So, okay, let's use these two. So you can create some sound of some sort of a round robin. You could just play one loop all the time. And you can play another loop and then change this one in the middle. So you get this one. So, and even if you think you could do more, you could come up with something like. So you probably want to use this one somewhere in the middle, but you get the idea. You could. So it was just randomly. Okay, so it was a hanging note. So you could randomly just switch, keep one loop going and make the other ones probably lower in volume. You think you can do this here? So you could set it up like this, that you just turn on the volume on all of these loops here, and then. So you can come up with your own stuff really quick. Yes, right. I wouldn't, what I feel many times is when I listen to tracks throughout the entire net, the entire web, I feel that a lot of songs don't, or that there's sometimes not a lot of stuff happening, especially when it comes to orchestral, when it even comes to trailer music. You have always, it seems like that you have 4-bar, 8-bar phrases, and sometimes not even the stuff which has been introduced in the very beginning is fading out somewhere or just, stopping to play. So there is a song starting with, and you hear the until the last note. So this to me is a no-go. I would always make sure. Sometimes it makes sense that you try to create something in a, let's say, in a popish or an EDM style where you have to keep sort of a steadiness, a pulse. But I mean, you can. It's much better to have like something going on for 4 bars, and even if it's going on again for another 4 bars or 8 bars. You do at least a little bit of a change at the end of a phrase. And if there's something you started, let's say you started this loop, you started your composition with that loop, just take it away after 8 or 16 beats, or just come up and recreate this loop with, for example, Saga, and just, spice this track up a little bit, because it's really, really, really annoying and adding up all these mistakes which are happening when compressing and limiting stuff, which is like creating ear fatigue when you have like all these loops over and over again. And even if you just have string chords, horn melodies, as beautiful as they are, it's just annoying when you hear this for like 32 or 64 bars. And this can become a pain in the butt real quickly. So, we went through 2 libraries. We covered a lot of stuff. So, there is actually one thing I forgot to mention, which is very important, or which makes you guys very happy. Actually, there will be a giveaway of SAGA and Cinematic Rhythms. We are still deciding how to do it best, but we will probably introduce several prices. So we already thought about, and let me know what you think, introducing as a first prize to have Cinematic Rhythms and SAGA as a first prize. And then, we're still deciding Cinematic Rhythms as the second prize and as the third prize SAGA, or the other way around. I think it will probably, the second prize will be SAGA, because it's like $50 more. Just making this up. And the third place would be Cinematic Rhythms only. And maybe I will just, spice the entire thing up by introducing some of my libraries into the whole thing. So we have like probably 4, 5, or even 6 or 7 prizes. So it's not just all Redroom libraries, but we have let's say a broad palette. Yeah. So, but I don't have this contest available right now because honestly, I didn't have time to create this. Let me change the window back to chat view here, make it a little bit more cozy. I should actually get like a little bit of a green screen behind me and do some cozy fire in the background, something like this. Oh boy. Yeah, but I think I will just, when I upload this video to YouTube, well, actually, I'm streaming to YouTube. I can't upload the video. I'm streaming to YouTube, so it will be right away. So I will let you guys know in like a day or two, and I will introduce the giveaway link where you can sign up for it, and it will be like a viral giveaway as I did before during the last year, and because you have to. Yeah, right. I was thinking the same thing because I really like my light system and the U stuff. Actually, we could make it a little bit more friendly because I'm still a little bit. I just have to find this one. So let's make this. Change the lights a little bit. Oh, actually. Oh yes, this one. Right. Oh, you can't see it. There is something happening here. I'll change this one. Yeah, let's make this a little bit more friendly. Whatever. Let's make this a brothel atmosphere. No, not really. Okay, so I'm just fooling around. What was I about to say? I always forget what I'm trying to say. So, I will have this contest set up probably like in 1 or 2 days, and I will let you guys know that you can win this. And yes, and it will be a viral contest again. So you will be signing up to that. You will be signing up to the Redroom newsletter and also to my newsletter. But don't be afraid. We're not, like companies or people who spam everyone to death. And besides that, I'm sending out to at least, 90% just information which could be helpful by building your business or, taking care of yourself and whatever, or new releases of my little store. So just let me, yeah, I like those, and I like those lights too. No campfire, no green screen. I took so much care, actually just this wall looks pretty cool, but if I move around everything, no, just kidding. I like working in this place. It's really important, to get something up which you really like working in, because there is nothing more terrible than just going somewhere and you just hate going there and spending like 6, 8, or even 10 or 12 hours of your precious day. Okay, so I think you enjoyed and hope you enjoyed this little exploring video. I have another thing on my list that I have. Yeah, right. This is like just someone mentioning from Twitch that just piling loops is not composing. It's lazy and non-musical. As I said before, there's nothing wrong by using loops in your composition, but it always depends on how much you fool around with a loop. And actually, I will probably do another tutorial on what you can do with loops, because there's so much opportunities by, even if you just take a full loop, you can still use EQ and just, for example, keep the bassish part and just load in another loop and just keep the more high frequent part. So you can create entirely new stuff out of, let's say, also older sample libraries combined with new ones, but just using, let's say, parts of the frequency band which you introduce to the new loop. So you can spice all this stuff up pretty good, because it happens so many times that we have like old, let's say it like Storm Drum 1. It's like a few gazillion years old. It's probably in the Bible somewhere. It's just really old. But you can still use these loops if you just, mangle out, for example, the bass drums with just EQ and introducing the cymbals or the hi-hatish parts, the snare-ish parts or whatever, the toms, and spice it up with a new library. So you can create a lot of stuff. So you can get really creative with all this stuff. And not even starting to mention stuff like effect tricks by Sugar Bites and other tools which let you chop or even introduce distortion or bit crushing for just a few bars. So you can get a lot of stuff done with all these things. Okay, so I really hope you enjoyed this little live stream. It's actually over 2 hours already, and I will definitely fix that we have the entire stream available inside the live chat window and not just the YouTube one. And yeah, I would say I'll call it a day. And I'm not really sure when I will be online the next time. It could happen during the day tomorrow. I'm not really sure yet. It could also, it will most likely happen next week again, Monday, probably around the same time, 10 p.m. And I can already say I actually promised in the stream yesterday that I have some contest and giveaway coming up, but this is not the one I was talking about right now all the time. There will be another coming up from another library, but I will let you guys know on all the social networks. Okay, so I would call it a day. Thank you for watching. Hope you enjoyed it. If you have something you want to talk about, just let me know. I should probably again, let me just quickly dial up my invite link for my Discord channel. Where did I? Oh, here. I would just drop you the link to my Discord channel. Well, actually, I have to do it in the restream window because I'm not. Okay, I have to do it here so everyone sees it. So I hope this works. I hope you guys see that. Yes, so this is an invitation link to my Discord community. I think I don't even checked it, but it already has grown to let me say 21 people are online right now, 113 are offline. So we already have grown to that decent number of 134 people, not including me. So it's 135 people already, and still growing. So I would be happy if I see you there, just in case if you're not already around on this one. Be invited. And okay, so I would say thanks. Have a great day, have a great night wherever you are, and see you on the next stream. Thanks for watching, and bye.